Everything that this government, when they were in opposition, people like President Tinubu and his cohorts mocked Jonathan for, they have done in return. But the hypocrisy is that those that mocked Jonathan then, they can't talk today. They've brought out the tweets of Mr. Festus Keyamo about the pardon of Alamisia.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Oba's Trending Gist. Today we are diving deep into a story that has ignited a firestorm across Nigeria. The recent presidential pardon granted to 175 inmates, including Maryam Sanda. This controversial decision by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has sparked a heated debate about justice, mercy, and the very fabric of our society. Maryam Sanda was convicted of murdering her husband, Bilyaminu Bello, a case that captivated the nation. Now, her pardon has brought forth a clash of opinion, particularly from commentators like Rufai Oseni and Gbenga from Arise News Abuja. Let's get straight into the heart of this discussion. Sit back and take a watch.
Well, all right. Well, good morning to you, viewers. Let's begin what's trending. Reactions continue to trail the recent clemency granted by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to 175 inmates, including Maryam Sanda, who was convicted of murdering her husband. In a statement released on Monday, Bello Mohammed, speaking on behalf of the deceased family, forcefully condemned the pardon. Mohammed stated that the release of Maryam Sanda reopened healing wounds for the family. He further described the clemency as the worst possible injustice any family could be made to go through for a loved one. Meanwhile, Ahmed Issa Bello, father of the late Bilyaminu Bello, in a joint press statement with Maryam Sanda's father, said he had been seeking clemency for Maryam Sanda years before President Bola Ahmed Tinubu granted her presidential pardon. Bello disclosed he wrote to Abubakar Malami, former Attorney General and Minister of Justice, in 2019 to request mercy for Sanda on humanitarian grounds. He added that he bore no grudges against Sanda, her family, or the federal government, stressing that forgiveness was the only way to heal from the tragedy.
I'm happy as the federal government has released Maryam in order to come and look after her two children, which God gave them between late Bilya and Maria. So, to me, I don't have any grudges with the federal government or the family of Maryam Sanda and any other relatives. Fully, I appreciate the effort of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on this issue. I need not to say much. Me, as a Muslim, I already told you people as a press crew that we accept the God of will. I'm happy as the federal government has released Maryam in order to come and look after her two children, which God gave them between late Bilya and Maria.
All right. Well, we have letters, as you can see on the wall, written by Bello to the High Court in Abuja and the Commissioner of Police back in 2019, as well as the Attorney General of the Federation requesting for Maryam's release, saying that he wants Maryam to raise her children. Maryam was pregnant at the time of her incarceration. Rufai, this story has gone viral. And I'll take some reactions. This is from Abib, who wrote, "Justice and mercy must always walk hand in hand. If she's truly reformed and her children can now have their mother back, then let's hope this second chance brings healing and not controversy." Another ex-user wrote, "The justice system in Nigeria isn't fair. To be honest, I'm not even surprised a country that grants amnesty to terrorists can also pardon a convicted killer. The family of Bilyaminu Bello has every right to call this the worst injustice ever." And I'll take some more reactions. And, Atiku Abubakar had posted this with his tweet. He wrote, presidential pardon, offense committed October 2025. 1, drugs at 29.2%. 2, unlawful mining at 24.0%. Homicide, 13.5%. 4, fraud corruption at 12.3%. 5, hijacking at 5.8%. Firearms at 2.3%. Robbery theft at 2.3%. 8, kidnapping at 1.8%. Human trafficking at 1.8%. Others at 5.8%. And if I can read some of Atiku's tweets again, he wrote, Tinubu's reckless use of presidential pardon undermines justice and emboldens criminality at a time when Nigeria continues to reel under the weight of insecurity, moral decay, and a surge in drug-related offenses. It is both shocking and indefensible that the presidency would prioritize clemency for those whose actions have directly undermined national stability and social order. Particularly worrisome is the revelation that 29.2% of those pardoned were convicted for drug-related crimes at a time when our youth are being destroyed by narcotics and our nation is still struggling to cleanse its image from the global stain of drug offenses. Presidential pardon is meant to symbolize restitution and moral reform. Instead, what we have witnessed is a mockery of the criminal justice system, an affront to victims, a demoralization of law enforcement, and a grave injury to the conscience of the nation. Rufai, your thoughts?
Oji, see, everything that this government, when they were in opposition, people like President Tinubu and his cohorts mocked Jonathan for, they have done in return. But the hypocrisy is that those that mocked Jonathan then, they can't talk today. They've brought out the tweets of Mr. Festus Keyamo about the pardon of Alamisia. They've just brought out the messages of Professor Wole Soyinka condemning the pardon of Alamisia, calling it immoral. Let the joke continue. But Oji, let me read you an excerpt from people that were instrumental to raising the man that died. Because Dr. Bello Aliru Muhammad OFR was instrumental to raising him. I don't want to go into their family conundrum. But hear what Dr. Bello said. He said that the alleged grounds for Maryam Sanda's release was predicated on appeals from her family, among other considerations. It's pertinent to stress that Bilyaminu was also a cherished family member who was profoundly loved and deeply mourned by the teaming relations, friends, close associates, following the unfortunate incident that resulted in the gruesome murder 8 years ago. Maryam, let's not forget, had earlier on denied the same children now used to elicit sympathy and secure her release. The opportunity to know what a father's love and care means. All I just want to ask is, for those that are now coming out, granting press conference, because you can see that a pardon now has now become a political issue. And that's to show you that the pardon should never have been done. A pardon that leaves other parties hurt. Were other parts of the family consulted before this pardon? So it shows that it should not have been done. But I want to ask them today, if the tables were turned, that it was the lady that is being pardoned today that was killed, will her family support the pardon? Because you see, it's so easy. Yorubas have a saying, "Entoba kuniti egbe," is because the man is dead now. He's not here to tell his story.
Right.
Let's be careful.
Well, you see,
President Tinubu should stop wasting, or can I use the word, gifting out pardons like they are selling recharge card.
These are the things.
And it's very sad how political this pardon has become. We've not even scratched the surface on the likes of the pardon of Peru.
Did you read Mahmoud Jega's press release talking about whether or not the father was there?
And that's why I said the people that raised, I don't want to go into their family conundrum. A biological father is a biological father. But the people that raised the deceased are the ones that wrote this, and they took a center page in this day. I think we should have also put their own write-up there up too. Because it's so easy now, after a child has been killed, Then they say they are writing letters to pardon, to leave it like this.
All right.
A country that does not uphold justice, life will not be better for the citizens. Nigeria has just happened again.
Nigeria has happened again, it appears. But the father has come out to say that, he's forgiving Maryam and he wants Maryam to raise the children. Maryam had a baby in prison, a boy. Now she has a boy and a girl. Well, this is really, I believe, still a really sad tale at the end of the day.
That first part of the report lays out the immediate reaction. We heard Oji explain the widespread condemnation from some members of the Bello family, who called the pardon the worst possible injustice. However, what's particularly striking is the revelation that Ahmed Issa Bello, the father of the late Bilyaminu, was actually the one who sought clemency for Maryam Sanda years ago. He cited humanitarian grounds, emphasizing forgiveness and the need for Maryam to raise her children. This creates a complex emotional and moral dilemma, while a segment of the people, or rather the public, and indeed some political figures like Atiku Abubakar are already questioning the rationale behind the pardon. The direct plea from the victim's father certainly adds layer of nuance to this unfolding narrative. As the discussion deepens, the focus shifts to broader implication of the contentious views of our commentators. Let's watch the second part of the clip to hear Gbenga's powerful counter-argument. Take a watch.
Over to you. Gbenga, please.
Okay, thank you very much. Please, you would permit me to quickly respond to the earlier topic. I think I can't hold it back. I think it's very unfortunate, and I think I have a divergent view on that because I think it's disingenuous to see how the social media has redefined us as a people. We are not vindictive people. And if you look at the reforms that is being clamored all over the world, the global reforms are moving from prison to correctional center. So what happens to forgiveness? I think that we need to change our narrative from what is being echoing out from the social media generation, which some people will refer as children of anger and babel of voices. We have a distinct culture, and I think forgiveness is central to this. The father of this girl, we had the report said he had forgiven. There is a need for healing. We cannot afford to regenerate vindictiveness, to regenerate vengeance, to regenerate cruelty. So I think that this lady has been sentenced to jail for a while and has been pleading. What if this lady happens on the reverse side? What if this lady happens to be a sister to any one of us? Are we still going to maintain this narrative? I think that this is a need for soul searching and a need to come back to who we are as a people. We Africans are loving people. Africans are deeply forgiving people. And I think that when you look at the Constitution, according to Section 175, the president has that discretionary sweeping power to grant that pardon, which is called the prerogative of mercy. And when you look at the word pardon, it presuggests that someone had committed an offense. That is why you are granting pardon. Otherwise, if the person was innocent, there will be no need for that use of pardon. So I think there is a need for us to have this moral regeneration of ourselves as a people, to come up with an identity of who we are, rather than allowing the social media Chinese whispers to define who we are as a people. So I think that for me, it's very painful. I commiserate with the family that has lost a dear one. Nobody wished to lose a loved one. But in as much as this is established, we need that healing. We need national healing. And I think we need to learn to move forward from past misdeeds, no matter how hurtful it is.
What a powerful exchange in that segment. We saw Rufai Oseni vehemently criticizing the pardon, calling out what he sees as hypocrisy from those who condemned similar actions in the past. He highlighted the emotional aspect by pointing out Maryam Sanda's previous denial of her children, now used to elicit sympathy. Rufai stressed that a pardon should not leave other parties hurting, raising critical questions about the justice system's integrity. However, Gbenga offered a sharp counter. He argued a shift away from a social media narrative towards a more forgiving and healing approach. Gbenga strongly emphasized that the deceased father had already extended forgiveness years before the pardon was granted. He underscored the presidential constitutional power of mercy and framed forgiveness as central to African value and national healing, rather than perpetuating vindictiveness. This entire saga strongly encapsulates the complex interplay between legal justice, moral obligation, and societal expectations in Nigeria. On one hand, you have the legitimate concern raised by Rufai Oseni and others, the perceived inconsistency in applying pardons, the potential to embolden criminality, and the risk of undermining public trust in judicial system. For many, justice demands accountability and pardon, especially in a high-profile murder case, can feel like a mockery of that process and a deep affront to victims. But then, you have the powerful argument for mercy and forgiveness articulated by Gbenga and exemplified by the deceased's own father. This perspective highlights the human elements, the children who need a mother, the possibility of rehabilitation, and the spiritual imperative to forgive. This isn't just about individual forgiveness. It's about whether society and the state can extend that same grace for broader healing. Ultimately, President Tinubu's decision, while constitutionally permissible, forces us to grapple with profound questions. When does mercy supersede justice? How do we balance the need for accountability with the potential for rehabilitation and societal healing? There are no easy answer here, and the divergent views from the Arise News decks clearly shows the depth of this national conversation. What are your thoughts on this? Do you believe the presidential pardon was justified, or does it set a dangerous precedent? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Obas Trending Gist for more in-depth analysis of the stories that matters to you.